The following program is a paid advertisement for Omega P3, brought to you by Harvest Direct. Fact: over the last 70 years, chronic disease rates have dramatically skyrocketed. High blood pressure, rheumatoid arthritis, hardening of the arteries, ADD, ADHD, macular degeneration, psoriasis, asthma, bipolar disorder, and more. In those last 70 years, due to our diet of processed foods and oils, we now estimate the amount of omega-3 fatty acids in our diet has dropped by almost 95%, thus creating what many medical institutions are calling the greatest public health disaster in the 20th century, or the deadliest deficiency. So how do we fight this incredible battle against processed foods and oils that have been deteriorating our bodies for decades? The answer is Omega P3 fish oil, the top supplement in its class for potency, purity, and palatability. Absolutely guaranteed to have the most potent non-prescription formulation on the market, and the only company that will give you a scientific certificate of analysis confirming just how much of the essential EPA and DHA is in your caplet. Some of the world's most respected institutions have provided evidence that omega-3s are vital to your good health. So if you or someone you love suffers from aches, pains, morning stiffness, moodiness, concentration impairment, lapses in memory, or any number of these issues, then please stay tuned to watch, learn, interact, and find out how you can receive a bottle of our Omega P3 fish oil free. Now, please welcome your host, Brian Fasulo, and practicing physician, graduate of the Harvard Medical School, and one of America's foremost authorities on supplements, Dr. Larry May.
Hello and welcome to the deadliest deficiency. Doctor, clearly in our country and now around the world, there is a problem. We are fatter, we are sicker, we are in more pain than we've ever been. It is an epidemic around the world. What are we lacking in our diet today that we weren't lacking 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way back to 1,000 years ago?
What we have is too little omega-3 fatty acids and too much of the other essential fatty acid known as omega-6. We have refined and processed our foods for economic reasons. We've industrialized our production. The end result of this is we are drowning in the worst kind of essential fatty acid, omega-6. We used to have a balance, 1 to 1. Now there are 10 to 20 times more omega-6 fatty acids in our diet, and there is an absolute and relative deficiency of omega-3s. And we're essentially destroying ourselves from within by changing the nature of our diets.
Let's discuss inflammation. Couldn't a case be made that inflammation is the building block for almost all the problems in the human body?
We now understand that so much of the disease and disability and dysfunction and suffering that exists is due to this low level of chronic inflammation. People have heart attacks. What is a heart attack? It is what happens when an artery closes and there's no blood supply to that muscle. So the heart muscle, the myocardial muscle, heart dies. Some people then get an arrhythmia and die a sudden death. That inflammation causes our platelets to stick together and close the artery. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly the EPA, which is the anti-inflammatory component, tends to make the platelets clump less, tends to reduce the inflammation, so it's unlikely that that plaque is going to rupture and close the artery. That omega-3 fatty acid is incorporated into every membrane of every one of the 50, 60 trillion cells. So by taking a simple, absolutely safe dietary supplement, we enhance the structure of those cells, but not just the heart cells, every cell, the brain, the skin, and we make them function the way they were intended to function.
So when you say the brain and the skin, we're talking about healthy skin, hair, eyes. When you talk about the brain, we're talking about potentially stress and depression.
There's actually a psychiatrist at Harvard Medical School who has treated one of the most severe forms of depression, so-called bipolar depression, with omega-3 fatty acids, obviously in doses far higher than what I recommend everybody should be taking, but using it essentially like Lovesa does for triglycerides as a drug. and achieved results comparable to the more toxic medications. So we can see, both in scientific studies, epidemiologic studies, clinical experience, that omega-3 fatty acids make your skin healthier. People with dry eyes have less of a problem with it. Taking it reduces the incidence of age-related macular degeneration. There are people who argue omega-3 fatty acid deficiency contributes to not only the low mood, the epidemic of depression, but learning disabilities, attention deficit, even bad behavior, even violent behavior.
With the antidepressants, everybody's looking to regulate the serotonin levels, and that's always the focus, and that's the buzzword. And that's what levels out with the increase in the P3 in the brain. That helps level out the serotonin and increase those levels, which is what's desired with an antidepressant. It would certainly be nice if people could be able to take something that was natural that would help alleviate some of the symptoms of depression without having to run the risks of the side effects that come with all of the antidepressant medications.
When you mentioned DHA, I first remember it while my wife was taking prenatals in the form of a fish oil. I then remembered it on my beautiful daughters, I have 3 daughters, in their formula. Obviously, there's something to that if they're putting it in newborn babies.
DHA is an essential component of our brain and our eye. I am a relatively new grandfather.
Congratulations.
And I am a physician. I didn't want to interfere even though I'm a physician. The only thing I insisted on from the day she was pregnant right through to now while she's breastfeeding, that she takes this omega P3 twice a day, every day. And the results so far have been spectacular. Smartest 3.5-month-old in the world. But the fact is that this fatty acid is essential to growth and development of the infant's brain and visual system.
Doctor, many people have heard of fish oil. Many people have heard of omega-3 fatty acids. However, what you bring to the table is omega P3. Please explain.
There's so many elements to what create a superior product. The first is how much EPA and DHA is in it. There's so much more of the EPA and DHA in omega P3. We guarantee 400 milligrams of EPA, 300 milligrams of DHA, and we go one step further to send you a certificate of analysis, which doesn't just tell you what's on the label, but precisely how many milligrams of DHA, how many milligrams of EPA, and how few particles per billion of any of the bad things are in there. And we will include that C of A with every bottle of omega P3 that we send so that people know exactly what they're taking.
Have you ever seen another product that readily displays the C of A for its consumers?
Nobody does, but we have the ability because we're dealing direct. And we want to have a relationship. We want the consumer who is taking this product for its myriad of medical and functional benefits that they know it and they're motivated to do it.
Isn't it time you did something for your health? Something as simple as picking up the phone, calling the toll-free number, and ordering omega P3 now.
Fact, over the last 70 years, chronic disease rates have dramatically skyrocketed. High blood pressure, rheumatoid arthritis, hardening of the arteries, ADD, ADHD, macular degeneration, psoriasis, asthma, bipolar disorder, and more. In those last 70 years, due to our diet of processed foods and oils, we now estimate the amount of omega-3 fatty acids in our diet has dropped by almost 95%, thus creating what many medical institutions are calling the greatest public health disaster in the 20th century, or the deadliest deficiency. So how do we fight this incredible battle against processed foods and oils that have been deteriorating our bodies for decades? The answer is omega P3 fish oil, the top supplement in its class for purity, potency, and palatability. Some of the world's most respected institutions have provided evidence that omega-3s are vital to your good health. So if you or someone you love suffers from aches, pains, morning stiffness, tiredness, moodiness, your concentration is impaired, your memory is declining, or any number of these issues, then you need Omega P3. This premium fish oil is highly purified to remove any trace of mercury or toxins and is enhanced with natural antioxidants and flavoring to ensure that you'll enjoy taking it.
With Omega P3, I basically can get all the benefits that I'm supposed to be getting, that all the doctors are telling me, but without the side effects, without the negative fish burping and regurgitation and flavor that I really didn't enjoy at all.
We took 3 of the top store-bought fish oil caplets and put them to the ultimate test. Of the active critical ingredients, EPA and DHA, as you can see, you would need to take 2 to 3 capsules for every capsule of Omega P3, costing you too much money for too little. And we're so sure that you're going to get the most potent formulation on the market. With every order, we'll give you a certificate of analysis confirming just how much EPA and DHA is in your caplet. Now, you could pay upwards of $240 a month for prescription blends of omega-3 fatty acids. But we're so sure that you're going to see and feel the difference that we'll give you the first bottle free. That's right, we want you to enjoy all the benefits of Omega P3. So your first 30-day bottle is free. From conception to old age, Omega P3 reduces inflammation, makes your blood vessels dilate, lowers blood pressure, decreases triglycerides. So if you would like to improve the structure and function of every cell in your body, promoting healthy brain development and function, and promote vibrant and youthful skin, you need Omega P3. Start today with the simplest and most effective diet change you may ever make. With this free offer, you have nothing to lose, but so much to gain. Pick up the phone and order now.
Dr. May, we have learned a lot about the observations of populations concerning omega-3 fatty acids.
That's exactly right. That's how the first insights about the potential benefits of this remarkable food substance were made. First, we saw these people in Greenland and our Eskimos who had diets that were essentially all fat. And for many years, as I was growing up, fats were bad. Fats equaled heart disease. However, counterintuitively, these populations that existed on massive amounts of fat and blubber had no heart disease. First observation, maybe it was something about those fats. Hence the first insight that omega-3 fatty acids might be protective. Another observational study, epidemiologic, that is a study of disease in populations. In Japan, very little heart disease. They moved to Hawaii, and suddenly their incidence of heart disease is about 50% of what it is on the mainland. Japanese moved to California, and lo and behold, they have exactly the same coronary artery disease problem that every other American immigrant group who came here and started to eat the same diet had. What's the lesson? It's not your genes, it's your behavior. And what was one of the major differences, the change from a fish diet with lots of omega-3s and very little of the processed oils to going to the supermarket and getting corn oil, safflower oil, and the end result is disease, disability, dysfunction. And that's what we've done to ourselves.
Well, Dr. May, right now, we are going to go out to a group of healthcare professionals who have joined us here on the set and start taking some questions. So, ma'am, stand up. You have a question for the doctor?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Dr. May, you've convinced me of the importance of omega-3 in my diet. Now, can you tell me why I would want to take another pill as opposed to just increasing my dietary intake of fish every day?
That is a brilliant question, and the simple answer is there is no fish and you're not capable of eating enough fish to get even close to the pill. Secondly, many fish, even good fish, contain some toxins, and when you start to take an amount of fish in your diet that would give you a physiologic benefit as opposed to just a sort of better dietary balance, you will probably incur some increase in the level of mercury and possibly some of the other PCBs, pesticides, dioxins. So unfortunately, our fish are not pristine. We even have to clean the oil from the relatively pristine fish. And nobody can consume enough fish to get close. But make sure that your fish isn't fried, because that basically fries the omega-3s.
Hello, Dr. May. I have a question. As far as joint health, how would omega-3 help that, as in particular rheumatoid arthritis?
Omega-3 fatty acids, and as I've told you, my particular omega-P3 is a necessary universal adjuvant treatment at the very least for all forms of arthritis. And in point of fact, we misinterpret all pain around the joint as arthritis. The pain may be coming from a myriad of other things, the tendons, the ligaments, the muscles, or the muscles simply tensing to prevent the joint from moving. So, as I've said, where I think everybody should be supplementing, people with certain conditions, and specifically rheumatoid arthritis, degenerative joint disease, physically active people will experience, I think, a very perceptual difference in their degree of pain with regular supplementation with omega-3 fatty acids.
Now let's take a look at our first video question that was sent to us right here at our web address. Doctor?
Dr. May, coronary artery disease runs in my family, and I'm not taking omega-3s. Should I start now?
Immediately. To understand the myriad of benefits of omega-3 for the heart, it makes the platelets less sticky, so you're less likely to get a heart attack. It makes the endothelium, which is the lining of the blood vessel, more responsive, so it dilates rather than constricts. It lowers the triglycerides, it lowers your blood pressure, and it reduces inflammation, which may be the precipitant for those disastrous results, and then sudden death. There is no question that omega-3 fatty acids reduce the risk, and they do it by stabilizing the membrane and in turn reducing the probability of an erratic and sometimes fatal arrhythmia.
Hey doc, how conclusive are these studies for omega-3?
Almost every study, no matter whether it's a basic science study or a clinical study, shows no harm and probable benefit. And some of the studies are so extraordinary, such as the profound reduction in sudden death, that there should be no question, no fear, no reluctance, no skepticism, no hesitation, and no procrastination. It should be ordered today and taken the minute it arrives and continued for as long as you live.
I have here study after study, Harvard, Cleveland Clinic, University of Pittsburgh, Purdue University, Oregon State University, a lot of good football teams in here as well. But my question to you is, on the big picture, what could we be on the cusp of here with omega-P3?
We could be, particularly if it was applied throughout the life cycle, from the very young to the very old. We might see a lot fewer kids on Ritalin. We might have a lot fewer people having coronary angiograms and angioplasties. We might see a lot more of our 60 and 70 and 80-year-olds not needing drugs to help their memory. We might see people who maintain their youthful cognitive and physical vitality into later and later years. And that's really what we're all seeking. We want to feel better, we want to look better, we want to do it for a longer time, and we want to do it with a minimum of interventions from myself and my colleagues, particularly the ones that wield knives and catheters.
So now you know some of the greatest minds in America and around the world agree that if you were to just take one supplement to promote healthy cognition and memory, lower high blood pressure, reduce inflammation, promote beautiful, healthy skin, and help you live a healthier life at the cellular level, that one supplement is our premium omega-P3 fish oil. And now is your chance to take advantage of this incredible free offer. So call now.
So how do we fight this incredible battle against processed foods and oils that have been deteriorating our bodies for decades? The answer is Omega P3 fish oil, the top supplement in its class for purity, potency, and palatability. We're so sure that you're going to get the most potent formulation on the market. With every order, we'll give you a certificate of analysis confirming just how much EPA and DHA is in your caplet. We want you to enjoy all the benefits of Omega P3, so your first 30-day bottle is free. From conception to old age, Omega P3 reduces inflammation, makes your blood vessels dilate, lowers blood pressure, decreases triglycerides. So if you would like to improve the structure and function of every cell in your body, promoting healthy brain development and function, and promote vibrant and youthful skin, you need Omega P3. Start today with the simplest and most effective diet change you may ever make. With this free offer, you have nothing to lose, but so much to gain. Pick up the phone and order now.
Doctor, we know as a scientific fact that Omega P3 lowers triglycerides. As a matter of fact, there is now a prescription drug with Omega 3. However, that prescription drug costs about $240 a month.
The fact is that omega-3 fatty acids lower blood pressure, make platelets less sticky, make the blood vessels more responsive, and clearly can lower triglycerides. And we believe that we have created a product that is very close to the prescription product at a cost that's available to everybody with the benefits that way, way exceeds simply the lowering of an excessively high triglyceride.
Dr. May, how does the amount of DHA and EPA in the Omega P3 product compare to prescription Lovesa, as well as the abundance of over-the-counter fish oil supplements that are available?
Specifically, Lovesa has 465 milligrams of EPA and 375 milligrams of DHA. The current Omega P3 that I'm using in my office has 434 milligrams of EPA and 326 milligrams of DHA, bringing it very close, within 10% of the prescription product at 1/10 the price. We have essentially 2.5 times the EPA of 90% of the dietary supplements and almost 300% of the DHA. And given that we're using a triglyceride form, that probably makes ours more effective, but GSK has more lawyers than I have. So I'm not
Thank you very much.
Looks like we're getting a text message into the show, Dr. May. Let's take a look at that now and see if we can answer that one. How long has the AHA, the American Heart Association, recommended omega-3s?
When they finally acknowledged it as a public policy is less important than the fact is that they did get it. They get it now, they've recommended it, and it's further affirmation of the benefits of omega-3 fatty acids.
Doctor, what do you say we go back to the video questions and take a question from our viewing audience?
I'm currently taking a cholesterol-lowering statin. Can I take Omega P3 also?
Not only can you take Omega P3, but you should. And there's actually a very important study called the JELIS study, J-E-L-I-S, done in Japan, which showed the additive value in reducing morbidity and even mortality when omega-3 fatty acids were added to a statin drug in people at risk for cardiovascular disease.
And let's take another question from the back row there. Say hello to Dr. May.
Hi, Dr. May. I have read that there are some cosmetic benefits to omega-3. Can you elaborate on what those might be?
The omega-3 fatty acid in the cell makes that cell better hydrated, more flexible, and therefore your skin will be less dry and more flexible, more youthful, more vibrant, and the same is true for the hair and nails. These are all living structures dependent on healthy cellular nutrition, so to speak. And omega-3 fatty acids are the cheapest, most effective cosmetic that you can get, and they work synergistically with all those expensive lotions and potions that you're buying and working for you.
Yes.
Doctor, if there's one thing that people at home should leave this show remembering, would it be that inflammation is in every single one of us in some capacity, and that your omega P3 can help with that inflammation, whether it's what we call silent inflammation or the recognizable classic inflammation?
I think the point that we are all under biologic stress that produces a subclinical destructive inflammation as a consequence of our life stress, the polluted atmosphere, and our terrible, sad, standard American diet. The body is under attack. We're being eaten away at by kind of an insidious guerrilla warfare. And omega-3 essential fatty acids provide a solution for many of the diseases that we suffer from. We're giving ourselves another measure of biologic defense.
Now, today we have discussed research from the most respected medical institutions in the world, from Harvard Medical School to the Cleveland Clinic to Johns Hopkins. And even the FDA has approved omega-3 fish oil in prescriptions for very high triglycerides. But it could cost as much as $240 per month. But my friends at Omega P3 are so sure that you will see and feel the difference with their premium Omega P3 that we are going to give you the first bottle free. Here's how to order.
Fact, over the last 70 years, chronic disease rates have dramatically skyrocketed. High blood pressure, rheumatoid arthritis, hardening of the arteries, ADD, ADHD, macular degeneration, psoriasis, asthma, bipolar disorder, and more. In those last 70 years, due to our diet of processed foods and oils, we now estimate the amount of omega-3 fatty acids in our diet has dropped by almost 95%, thus creating what many medical institutions are calling the greatest public health disaster in the 20th century, or the deadliest deficiency. So how do we fight this incredible battle against processed foods and oils that have been deteriorating our bodies for decades? The answer is Omega P3 fish oil, the top supplement in its class for purity, potency, and palatability. Some of the world's most respected institutions have provided evidence that omega-3s are vital to your good health. So if you or someone you love suffers from aches, pains, morning stiffness, moodiness, your concentration is impaired, your memory is declining, or any number of these issues, then you need Omega P3. This premium fish oil is highly purified to remove any trace of mercury or toxins and is enhanced with natural antioxidants and flavoring to ensure that you'll enjoy taking it. We took 3 of the top store-bought fish oil caplets and put them to the ultimate test. Of the active critical ingredients, EPA and DHA, as you can see, you would need to take 2 to 3 capsules for every capsule of Omega P3, costing you too much money for too little. And we're so sure that you're going to get the most potent formulation on the market. With every order, we'll give you a certificate of analysis confirming just how much EPA and DHA is in your caplet. Now, you could pay upwards of $240 a month for prescription blends of omega-3 fatty acids. But we're so sure that you're going to see and feel the difference that we'll give you the first bottle free. That's right, we want you to enjoy all the benefits of Omega P3, so your first 30-day bottle is free. From conception to old age, Omega P3 reduces inflammation, makes your blood vessels dilate, lowers blood pressure, decreases triglycerides. So if you would like to improve the structure and function of every cell in your body, promoting healthy brain development and function, and promote vibrant and youthful skin, you need Omega P3. Start today with the simplest and most effective diet change you may ever make. With this free offer, you have nothing to lose, but so much to gain. Pick up the phone and order now. The preceding program was a paid advertisement for Omega P3, brought to you by Harvest Direct.